No, it's okay. I'm enjoying the conversation because I feel like this is the type of conversation I would like to have when these kind of things happen in real time so people can learn. Unfortunately, we have too many people who are caught up in trying to, not be perceived a certain way instead of just taking accountability. And, yesterday I said a very ableist thing and I took accountability. I lost control of my emotions. And it's not an excuse. It's just, I wish that more people took accountability when they say something that is, quote unquote problematic. And we can all learn from it. We could all not say it again. And we can continue having a conversation. But unfortunately, a lot of things were said yesterday that we really couldn't dive into and understand, like, where is it coming from? Like, the K, everything that I've had with Kay, like, conversation-wise, it was interesting because she kept getting upset, the fact that I was calling out that she had AAVE, and I was under the impression that she was a Black person up until the other day when she said she's brown, and I said, what do you mean? And she said she's Asian, she's Indian, and I was like, oh, well, why are you using AAVE, and why are you talking about Black issues? Like, I found that strange, right? And then she started to get mad because it was a white person who apparently isn't even trans. They are talking on trans issues, but they just like to dress up like a woman from time to time, which, again, I found it interesting that we couldn't get clarity on these things instead of just like jumping. Are you
talking about Huntress?
Yeah, bad girl.
Yeah, bad girl Huntress or something like that?
Yeah.
Wait, the one that was in the panel with us?
Yes, this whole time.
Yeah, they're not trans.
They're not trans. They were just talking on trans issues.
Yeah, but Kay thought they were trans, so Kay was transphobic. That's literally what happened. And misgendering and acting a fool.
What? She was still misgendering the next day, like purposely calling them a boy, regardless of their gender. Like, it's so disrespectful to like call that to a person. And it was interesting because on that live that Kay got upset on with when we were having this debate, I twice called out a bad girl for once. It was trying to say that Kay is whitewashed. I told them that they don't have the place to say that to a person of color as a white person. And then the second thing, they said something that I was like, you're using AAVE. That's not cool. And I told them, we can talk about it. We can have a discussion about it. But Kay wasn't prepared to have that discussion because then she would have to confront her own usage of AAVE.
Yeah, because when I was trying to go up there and correct, because I remember that Kay kept trying to say, well, your bad girl kept saying like deflecting, like trying to avoid what she had said.
Right. But that's the game they play, right? They play the deflect game, they play the projection game, they play the gaslight game. Belle, for the first time yesterday, from my knowledge, was claiming that I was saying that I was Middle Eastern or Arab or whatever the fuck. She said I was saying that in Pro Pally Lives, and I swear to God, I've never seen this girl outside of T-Bone's live. So apparently I made an impression on her for her to remember or think that she remembered me saying something like that. But I digress. And then with QB and Prince, they are so hurt because I continuously expose their anti-Blackness, despite that, it's interesting because QB, she doesn't identify as Black. So I would go as far as because
we know
she
this
does.
Woman.
What I mean is like, so I don't say that Black people can be racist, right? But in QB's case, she doesn't identify as Black. She is purposely denying her Black ancestry, and she is like constantly straightening her hair and trying to appear different, like she's presenting as something different. So I would say she's
I don't know that I agree with that.
She's racist.
I don't agree with that last portion.
She's also said she's racist.
I don't
Thank you.
agree with that last portion.
I know.
I
I'm just
agree,
joking.
Wawa.
I'm just
Because
joking. I'm just
no, but
joking.
you were also talking about people who engage in the same behavior you are, right? So like when we're having conversations, it's really great to like be for real, especially when you know that they are going to over exaggerate what you've said already. Right. And like this is my issue, right? There are people that people have deemed quote unquote problematic. And when people make assertions that are not true about their problematic behavior, then other people that are making real assertions, right, are looked at as not being believable, right? Because when we're talking about people that people have deemed problematic, the label is subjective, so it's problematic to you, whatever. I like to be very fucking specific and very fucking clear about what they are and are not doing, because the moment that there is something that they didn't do and it's proven that they didn't do it, all credibility is lost. So like I like to be clear there. I just want to be very fair, because to be fair to you, yesterday was the first time I ever saw Queen Bull's hair straightened. And I've been seeing that for months.
Really, I've every time that she turns on her camera, her hair is straight, and she sells products on her TikTok to straighten hair. And I mean, just to say, I have seen her multiple lives with her hair straight. And it's not even about her hair straight, because that's not even the thing.
Yeah, that's not even
it. Yes. It's the fact that she constantly denies that she has Black ancestry, and she denies the fact that her ancestry comes from Africa. She constantly saying very, very anti-Black things, like the most dangerous place for a Black child to be is a Black woman's womb. You know, she called me a donkey yesterday. I mean, we have a list of things.
But didn't you also say something to her about her hair and some other stuff last night, right? So let's be for real, because I felt like y'all were both.
No. I didn't say.
You were absolutely anti-Black too. Yeah.
No. I did not say anything about her hair. I said that I told her, let's wet your hair and see how straight it is, because she's told me that her hair is naturally straight. She's literally said this to me while simultaneously. Simultaneously told me that I have nappy hair and lice in it. Like, she's told me this.
So I think what Wawa is getting at is that we can't like be upset at what Queen Bull says and then engage in the same types of behaviors. And like I can understand that you didn't mean it in the exact same way that Queen Bull did when she was saying the comments to you, but that doesn't change the fact that like when we talk about hair texture and features and just how we present in society, and casting those things in a negative light as opposed to what we think they should be, that we're engaging in the same types of bigotry.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't trying to cast it in a negative light. I was just saying you're in denial. You literally just told me that your hair is naturally straight when we all watch you straighten your hair. Like, it's the delusion for me. It's not the fact that she can't have her hair straight. It's the fact that, again, she wants to act like it's naturally that state, just like she wants to act like she doesn't have African ancestry. It's the delusion for me.
And so what is the implication of calling that out?
Yeah.
It's, again, the delusion. It's the fact that she wants to sit here and call me nappy when she probably has 3C, 4C, whatever C type of texture hair. She also wants to act... What?
I'm very confused.
Yeah. So I think, let me clarify my question too. What is the implication for the rest of the people that were watching that live when you call out the fact that she's lying about her hair texture, or you believe she's lying about her hair texture? I wasn't there, so I can't like.
No, it wasn't that I believe. Again, she literally on her platform told me.
Ashley, listen to what I am saying.
She said that her hair is naturally
listen to
like
what I am saying, because I'm not saying that you are incorrect or you're lying. I'm saying that I wasn't there. So I'm going off of what you're saying. That was the clarification. And I'm asking you, what is the implication of calling that out for people who are watching the live?
For people to know that she is delusional. She is at the highest form of delusion that she's living in. What?
Do you think the people in that space got that from that? Because I can tell you as a viewer, I thought that it was very anti-Black of you.
Well, it's really hard to get anything across when Queen Bull is in the box, because she's constantly talking, over-talking, yelling.
Yeah, she was actually a lot. I like, just to be very clear to you, I know who Queen Bull is. I've spent a lot of time around Queen Bull. Most people in this box have. So like, we don't actually necessarily need the background on her behavior, right? because we've all observed. But when it comes to, right, the conversation that we're having, right, you seem to have different stances than Queen Bull does. So like when we talk about,
I think that's evident.
yeah, exactly. So when we talk about, for me, it seemed that you wanted to get, you guys have like you're personally affected by the things that she does, right? So it seemed to me that like when you made the hair comment, you didn't care about the implications for other Black folks in our hair, right? Because that dig at her hair is about, it implies, right, the hair issues that we have in our own race, right? So like that's what
But I wouldn't call it an issue because, for instance, I don't say that it's an issue to have curly hair. I'm saying stop hiding who you are. She constantly is denying. I didn't get a chance to. That's my issue. I never get a chance. I have 1 minute when we have showtime. No, but this is the thing. That comment comes from the original comment of her telling me that I have nappy hair and have lice in it. And I said, why do you talk about my hair when you straighten yours? And she said, no, my hair is naturally like this. This is the first time I'm able to even have this conversation because, again, when she's in the box, there's literally zero time that I get to even like get a word in because she's not yelling. It's Belle interjecting. Like they literally like tag team, if not one of the other ones who jump in to cause foolery and confusion. It's just a chaos. And that's why I actually messaged G-Bone last night and I said, I'm going to have a conversation because this is like absurd, like the way that they were saying all the things that they were saying yesterday, not only about my Blackness, because I know who I am. I could give two fucks about what anybody has to say about that. I'm talking about all of the anti-Black shit that they were saying, and they were saying it with an intention to be destructive, to be disgusting.
Yeah, Ashley, like here's my thing. I am never going to tone police you because like when someone comes at you, I believe that you should come at them with whatever you feel like in the moment, as long as it's proportional. Like I can definitely say that when I'm pushed to a point, I don't give a fuck about quite a few things. Like I'm probably going to make comments and not filter the way that I usually do. But I think when we're encountering folks who obviously have issues with their identity and behave in that way and make comments like this, that sometimes our responses have to be a bit more measured. And again, I wasn't there. I can't like say how your comments came off. But I can say that like maybe just like keep that in mind the next time that you have interactions with Queen Bull.
I will. I mean, respectfully, I will, and I will definitely make sure to measure the comebacks. It's kind of like, I feel like I have to like go through these hurdles, but you're right. I shouldn't like stoop down to her level just to get back at the disrespectful things that she's saying. I think that that's what she wants, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to probably not try. I'm going to try not to even be in spaces with her. I find it also funny how she's constantly being docked on this app, and her and Prince went out of their way to go on my Instagram and go looking for shit and try to find something about me.
Oh, that's weird. Well, that's weird.
Like, that was fucking weird. And then the funny thing is, I knew exactly what they were gonna pull. That's why I pulled it myself.
Can you play the clip, because it was funny. It was funny.
Also, I just want to point out that we can also drag Queen Bull for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like
let's just not. This is my thing, and like I get it's frustrating, but I don't have expectations on Queen Bull.
Yeah.
There are none for me, right? You know what I mean? She is who she is. The only thing that I'm looking at is the people that claim to hold the views that I hold. So when you get out of character and you start engaging in the same behavior, that's when it's impactful, because I know that you aren't supposed to believe those things. You get what I mean? So it's, I would never come at a person of color's hair because I know how it affects us and how society views us regardless.
So I agree, Wawa. However, I personally, like, if I was in this situation, I wouldn't say bigoted things like that, but I might say, yeah, and a lot. I probably would say some bigoted shit, but it wouldn't be in a sense of, questioning someone's blackness, things like that. It would be more or less, never mind, I'm just gonna hold my tongue.
Don't say the bigoted stuff here because you're gonna get dropped.
Spiffy, finish your thought.
No.
But
I just what I personally, right? I've been to therapy. I've been working on myself for about 4 or 5 years now.
I love that.
I would probably relapse, and it would be, from the actions and the anger that I would say out my mouth. But I'm not going to entertain. I'm not going to give myself that type of mindset right now. So I'm gonna just mute.
Well, I guess that's my question, right? Do you give your energy there, right? Like, because I have had convos with this woman, y'all know this, right? But who they are, like, as a person, it doesn't affect me, right? Like, I do a lot of this from an exposure perspective. I'm really interested in how other Black people that are on their journeys see and clock this behavior, so you know what the fuck, so you can protect yourself, because you already want to do this. Like, you want to decolonize. This person doesn't want to do it yet, and we know this. Is there anybody in here that thinks that this person is on a decolonization journey and wants to do it?
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, I will say,
those are people you use as tools. Like, you use them as tools.
There is something about her that, like, triggers something, like, in me about back home, because she reminds me of so many people I grew up with in Miami. And she is right to say that there are a lot of racist Cubans, because a lot of them identify as white. And they say things like what she was saying last night, and it was like, I was almost low-key like reliving some of that trauma with her.
Yeah, see, and that's where I'm like, okay, well, Ashley, we get in a place where you are working through that trauma, right? You know what I mean? Because if you align with, and I heard you speak, so some of the views, if you align with the things that I align with, I'm more interested in, okay, how do we get Ashley to a point where Ashley can be consistent with who Ashley is, right? While these people that still exist and still are going to exist are doing the things that have triggered you in the past, and still have some unpacking to do. So for me, at least in what I do on here, a lot of it would be, all right, Ashley, what do we need to do to make sure that everything that she says no longer gets you to a place where you are engaging in behavior that you know that you don't want to. You know what I mean? Because there's a want there for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think maybe just staying away from her.
Yeah, and if that's the thing, you know what I mean? Do your thing, because literally, outside of y'all talking about this lady today, I had her blocked because I needed to do that. I needed a break.
Yeah.
Ashley, her goal is not to debate or do anything beneficial. It's literally to antagonize people. That's what I've seen in like every panel that she's been in, to antagonize.
And then to scream victim when people respond to her. And
But isn't that... Sarah, can we talk about the fact that that's the same thing that we was talking about with Kay?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all do the same.
100%.
They have the same tactic. As soon as they get backed in the corner and actually can't debate or say anything, that's what they do. And they like Wawa. There were so many times I kept saying, Ashley already apologized. You decided not to accept it, so just move on. And then Prince is in the comments talking about, oh, these are the same people that didn't want to accept my apology. I'm like, no one has to accept your apology, but if it's already been addressed, just go your separate ways and stop talking about it.
And Joy, you know what I have been noticing, and I think that this is part of their misconception, right? They apologize for an action and change zero behavior, right? So they are being called out in every space they're going in all of the time because they're engaging in the same bigotry over and over again.
Because then your apology just looks performative, because then you're not even actually doing anything to show that you're actually sorry or apologetic. You're just saying it just to say it.
Yeah, well, yes, and think about it, right? Even think about when we talked through the whole when Kay said like what she said about trans people, and she said, "Oh, I haven't said that in 3 weeks," but then
Lies, which is a
literally
lie.
has been using different language to be transphobic. So of course, people are still going to call you out. They're not calling out the fact that you just said that word. They're calling out the fact that you are transphobic and spewing transphobia. So every time you do it, any which way you do it, it doesn't matter how you play the semantic games, people are going to call it out. So I think when they are assessing how people when we are doing it internally, it's different because if I'm like, Ashley, I don't think that was good. Like that was anti-black. You need to work on it, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm telling you what I think. Ashley and me are talking through it. Ashley is like, all right, I can see where you come from. And how I might need to change, and we let it go. If Ashley does that again in front of me, right, I'm gonna call it out again. But typically, when we address issues and we resolve them, the behavior changes happen.
But the issue,
then we call it out again.
The issue is though, like they can't even acknowledge like they're doing wrong, right? Like Kay said, I might have said some transphobic stuff. Like, no, you did. There's no might about it. You keep saying you might have, and you're not acknowledging that you're like actually doing this action.
Yeah. Did anyone else want to add in? I was just asking if anyone else wanted to jump in on the topic because I know Oshun and
Oshun
Vonda
Vada.
Yeah.
Hey,
Everybody.
I have to get back to. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know who you were.
No, go ahead, Oshun. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say real quick that I think a lot of people are not being consistent when it comes to a lot of these topics. I find it interesting that Ashley was talking about like this person's like blackness or lack thereof or hiding her African ancestry when quite literally in my comment section using your Queen Bull account, you were calling me Delulu J-Lo and saying that you're a real black woman and to stop pretending to be black, even though that I'm Afro-Indigenous, and that you like run in circles with folks that also have gone to my Instagram to like find pictures of my family members so that they can post. These are your mutuals, and so I always find it interesting when I hear people being inconsistent about the type of like rhetoric that they spew on lives while like engaging in the same type of behavior. I think that if you're gonna talk about Queen Bull's like African ancestry or blackness or whatever the case may be, you need to be consistent about that, especially when all three of us phenotypically have similar traits. So if you're going to I don't think you need to come for another person's identity to affirm your blackness. You are a black woman. You don't need to tell other black people that they're not black or that they're not black enough or that they need to engage in certain behavior when your behavior is also anti-black. So I just wanted to point that out. I do have the screenshots, but like I'm not up here to to disrupt the live. I just wanted to basically, for accountability purposes, to say like if you're gonna engage in behavior where you're supposedly trying to do the right thing, then you probably shouldn't troll other people's accounts, even if your mutual is having a disagreement with someone or even if they're having a problem. I never questioned your blackness. I never questioned your mutual's blackness. I never went and researched any of your social media accounts in order to find dirt, because I don't do that. I engage directly to comments that are on my page, or I engage directly to folks on whatever merits of whatever arguments that they're having. So I just wanted that to be clear.
So I would like to first start off by saying the last conversation I had with you, you decided to bring up the fact that I had my comments on what I feel is fit for myself as a Black individual being in an interracial relationship and how I feel about that when I was addressing a white person. And I found it very strange how you derailed the conversation to make it about something else. And then in those comments, I never questioned your Blackness. I said, why are you being delulu? Simply because you have consistently been in Black spaces trying to correct people, but you don't see how you're being perceived yourself. I also find it very strange how you literally took one of those people who had an issue with you, their photo that they don't have on their TikTok, and you decided to put it all over your TikTok as well. I'm talking about KK. And we tried to have a conversation. Yeah, you did. You literally took her photos that she didn't have on her TikTok, and you.
It's on her
No.
TikTok.
You're not going to interrupt me. You're not going to interrupt me.
Well, because you're lying.
You're not going to You're not going to interrupt me because I
No,
did not.
y'all gotta go whatever time y'all
Yeah,
feel.
but
One at a time.
No.
Oshun, you can finish. You can respond right after. I promise.
Yeah, you can respond
Right,
right after.
because
But I'm gonna you gave me
again,
the
you're trying to act like you're not messy when you're extremely messy, Wrath. You have gone back and forth with Nomi, and yeah, I've literally witnessed you literally go back and forth with her while also dragging in other individuals. You're putting photos of other individuals on your TikTok, and you love this messy shit. So don't act like you're innocent. You're also complicit in your shit. And what's interesting is that we actually tried to have a conversation with you and have a live where we only invited the people who were involved in that whole entire situation. And we're going to have a conversation around colorism and about the whole conversation about how people perceive you, which is phenotype. And we were talking about that, and you decided not to be a part of that live. So I find it, again, very interesting how you're here to center yourself, but when it was time to actually center yourself and actually have a conversation and a dialogue around the problematic things you've done, you didn't want to have that conversation. My DMs are wide open. You could have reached out to me. You could have told me this isn't cool. You could have, but here we are again, Wrath on a live trying to call out a Black person. I find it very strange. I find it extremely strange. But you, again, engaged in this problematic shit by putting videos and pictures of individuals who are not on this app and trying to, again, go back and forth with individuals when you literally are messy as hell. I don't get it. I don't get why you think that people aren't going to cap for you. Don't tell me to hurry up when you spoke for like 10 minutes. Don't do that.
I'm gonna go. Observant, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. I think we can have this conversation without throwing digs at each other. I also just want to throw out that if I feel like I'm being maligned in any kind of way, I'm not likely to reach out via DMs. So perhaps we can use this space as a way to talk about the issue. While also giving each other some grace. I think I think everybody on this panel can say that we've been messy at some point or another when interacting with folks that we don't like.
I've never been
Observant, to be honest, I do not want to have this conversation with this individual because when there was space to have this conversation, they decided to deny that request twice. So I was here to talk about something that had just happened yesterday. Wrath is here to center themselves once again, like they always do.
So
if Wrath wants to have this conversation, we can have this conversation with the people who were involved, who actually said the things to each other. All I said is that you're delusional because you constantly are questioning people's actions and you yourself present as a certain way. You know that, and you want to deny that for some reason. We were talking about phenotypes, we were having that conversation, and you didn't want to be a part of it. So to me, I beg to question, what is your intention here other than to censor yourself? And I personally, I don't want to sit here and engage with you for an hour when that wasn't my intention. We tried to have that conversation with you in two separate occasions.
Well,
Yeah, I know it's
maybe
boring.
Joy and Wawa can help with this because I don't think that this is necessarily centering. I think this is kind of
Yeah, I thought it was on topic.
I
Yeah,
don't think it's centering either.
yeah. So I can respect if you don't want to have the conversation, but I also think that
given what we're talking about right now and given what was shared, that is like right in line.
On par with
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think this has to be any type of like hostile conversation. It sounds like if you guys are willing to actually talk through it, it can be talked.
I mean, we could
talked through.
also invite the people who she had an issue with specifically, who started this whole thing, and partly, and then we can have a conversation about my issues with Wrath and what they've done in numerous lives to
Well,
incite
I
literal.
wasn't addressing them, and I purposely left like their names out of it because my issues with your behavior since you're up here
Of
claiming
course.
that. And I've already had a conversation with those people on their lives because I was on the live that I was invited to, where I was called Rachel Dolezal, and I was referred to as what I forgot, but that's not the point. My point is like I think you need to be consistent. I also not lie. The picture of the individual that you're referring to, that I posted a side by side view so that folks can see how hypocritical it is when you're talking about my phenotypical traits when you have similar traits. That person's picture was on their page. So to say that it's not on their page is a lie. I didn't research the social media to get it. I just looked on their page and I took a screenshot and I put a side-by-side view so that people can see that there is no consistency when it comes to this. Like I don't mind having my blackness questioned. I know that I'm phenotypically ambiguous. Some folks need to maybe see that on themselves, but that's not the issue here. The issue here is you referring to me as Delulu J-Lo, as referring to when I make a response saying, hey twin, like to basically highlight, like sis, we don't look that much different.
I beg to differ.
Well, that's fine. That's your opinion, right? So that's how perceptions work. Everyone has a different perception, right? So my perception is that we don't look that different. And so when I said, "Hey, twin," you said, "Stop pretending to be black. That's problematic. You're a real black woman." That's what you said to me. And so I just wanted to point that out. Now, I will be listening in the comment section. I do have to go back to work, but I think that is an interesting topic. And the only thing I'm saying is if we're going to talk about problematic behavior, that we need to be consistent. I'm not going to say that I'm not messy. When people come for me, I come for them, most definitely. But I do it in a way that is consistent. I don't research people's backgrounds. I go directly.
When did I research your background?
I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying.
Okay, then let's not conflate things because now you're conflating things that I didn't do.
No.
Wait, I think that's not happening.
You literally found Kate.
Ashley,
hold
on a
because
second.
Kate, I just want to
Ashley,
that you just lied
on
about.
a second. Oshun
She just lied about
talking.
something.
Ashley,
No,
hold
she
on a
didn't.
second. Did we not just do this with her? Like, come on.
That's not.
Oshun is talking about herself right now.
Yeah, Oshun was
and her own behavior.
Yeah,
I'm saying that the photos that she took from Kay's profile was from her backup,
right now,
and she went and looked.
You are being defensive.
She's lying that she's saying
can we
that she didn't look.
This is my live, Ashley. I mean, I know this is the first time you're up here, but when I speak as the host, nobody else. I can overtalk whoever I want, but nobody else can overtalk me. Oshun, please finish your statement so you can get back to work, and then Ashley, you can rebuttal.
Yeah, when she says that I looked for her backup, like the backup has the same name as her main, and it was literally connected to it. So like, I don't see how is that researching other social media when it's just like it's her backup? Like, what did you think I was gonna do when somebody came into my comment section talking about show your parents? I'm like, well, show your parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what I'm saying is that I'm consistent. Like I match energy. Now, if people don't like that I match energy, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that I'm consistent about how I respond to people. I'm consistent about what I respond to. And I really don't have to lie in order to do that. So like at the end of the day, I'm Afro-Indigenous. At the end of the day, regardless of how my parents present, I understand people questioning my blackness. I don't see a problem with that. But I think when you cross a line and you resort to bullying tactics in order to prove something or whatever, I think you need to be honest about it. Consistent, just like all those problematic people that everyone is trying to call out. One thing about them is that they're consistent in their in the way that they behave, and they just don't care. You know what I'm saying? So, but they're still consistent, and so I think that if you're going to be on the other side of that, and you're going to preach decolonization, and you're going to preach being like someone that is for the justice of Black and brown people, then I think you need to be consistent and be honest about your behavior. That's all I'm saying. I got to go back to work, but like I said,
I could also say the same thing about you, Raph, but I guess you have to go back to work.
Yeah, Oshun said that they would be in the comments, but thank you, Oshun. And then Ashley, if you want to rebut that, go ahead.
So, like I was saying, Wrath, again, when the last engagement that I had with Wrath, I was literally on a live calling out a white person who was culturally appropriating hairstyles out on making the hairstyles not even good quality. And Wrath immediately starts saying, you're overspeaking Black women, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like, hold on, why are you coming for me when there's a whole white person culturally appropriating and you have the heat? And then she started bringing up things that I've said in the past. I'm like, why is it that we're so comfortable with, again, having white people say the things that they say, and then you're so ready for heat for me, and then you engage in the shit that you engage with? She literally went on Kay's backup, which is not linked to any of her main accounts. So she went and looked for it. She then posted it, and then she was acting like, this was just something she was doing as retaliation. Like, no, you're being messy and also extremely problematic and engaging in the same behavior that you're complaining about. So what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? How are we going to have heat for other people, but then engage in the same behavior for other individuals? Like, be fucking.
But isn't that why she got up here? To say the same thing. That's the reason that she got up here. To say the same thing to you.
I think